Respected Chairman, panelists, and delegates, greetings from Bangladesh. I'll be talking hydrodissection in phacoemulsifications. Howard Fine is the pioneer of cortical cleaving hydrodissection and introduced the technique to separate the lens substances from the capsules. Various types of cannula are used for hydrodissections. A straight hydrocannula is most commonly used, but I am mostly comfortable with a Akahoshi, a small band hydrocannula, which I can place underneath the anterior capsules up to the equator and can inject fluid directly behind the nucleus without tenting of the anterior capsules. Regarding the size of a syringe, from this above formula, we can see the pressure is inversely proportional to the surface area. So, because of less surface area, a small syringe can generate more injection pressure, and more injection pressure is more efficient to separate the lens substance from the lens capsule. A 1 cc syringe is my choice for my effective hydrodissections. Coming to the diameter of cannula, here we can see the flow is inversely proportional to the resistance. So the flow will be less if the resistance is more. A small diameter cannula provides high flow rate but prevent too much injection of fluid. A 27 gauge hydrocannula with flattened tip is my choice. With flattened tip, the fluid is distributed in a fan-like manner, which is useful to dissect the lens substance. There are various tips for successful hydrodissection. Tip number 1. Before initiating hydrodissection, first gently depress the posterior lip of the incision to take out some viscoelastic substance to reduce the anterior chamber pressure. This will allow the forward bulging of the nucleus and escape of fluid from the capsular bag into the anterior chamber. Tip number 2. Inject fluid with adequate force of injection, but not too rapidly, to generate sufficient hydrostatic force, which is effective to separate the lens substance from the capsular bag, but slow and gradual injection is not effective. Tip number 3. Stop injections once the nucleus is pops up, but it is not wise to continuous injection of fluid until a clear fluid wave is visible. Tip number 4. Immediately decompress the nucleus once the nucleus is pops up to push the nucleus back. This will cause movement of the fluid from the capsular bag into the anterior chamber, and this fluid movement will enhance the separation of corticocapsular adhesion at equator. Tip number 5. Avoid forceful rotation because it may cause zonular dialysis. The cardinal signs of successful hydrodissections are clearly visible fluid wave, forward bulging of the nucleus, and escape of fluid following decompression of nucleus. The role of hydrodissection in phacoemulsification are it separates the lens substances from the capsular bag and allow the nucleus to rotate. It reduces the stress on zonules during rotation and detaches the lens epithelial cells and thus reduce the incidence of PCO. It also greatly enhances the good cortical cleanup. The main goal of hydrodissection is rotation. But if the nucleus do not rotate after successful hydrodissection, it is wise not to go for forceful rotation, because with forceful rotation, all the shearing forces will be transmitted to the zonular complex and it will be end up with zonular dialysis. So the good idea in this case, don't bother about rotation, rather proceed for sculpting and divide the nucleus. Sometimes after division of the nucleus, it allows the nucleus to rotate. And still if you do not rotate, then do repeat hydrodissections. Here you can see successful hydrodissection with a clearly visible fluid wave. I divide the nucleus completely, but still the nucleus is not rotating. So I proceed for repeat hydrodissections. Now we can see the nucleus start to rotate. So hydrodissection can be done at any stage of the procedure. Another goal of hydrodissection is it prevents the incidence of PCO. A good hydrodissection dislodges the lens epithelial cells from the fornix of the capsular bag, who are the main culprit for the formation of PCO, and thus reduce the incidence of PCO. This study was done by Dr. Abhay Barswada, and it was found that hydrodissection combined with rotation significantly reduced the number of lens epithelial cells from the fornix of the capsular bag and thus reduce the incidence of PCO. Another goal of hydrodissection is good cortical cleanup. In some clinical scenario, multi-quadrant hydrodissection is more effective than the single quadrant hydrodissection. Here you can see the cataract is associated with corticocapsular adhesion. These are some strong mechanical adhesion between the lens substance and the capsules. And in ISUCCA, the nucleus rotation is very difficult. And if it is not rotated, it is not wise to go for forceful rotation. Here, nucleus is not rotating after initial hydrodissection. So I proceed for repeat hydrodissection. I'm injecting fluid to the site of CCA to break the adhesions. Now we can see the nucleus is start to rotate as the separation is completed. In eyes with floppy iris, I first inject a very small amount of dispersive OVD over the iris, especially on the subincisional area, to achieve more pressure gradient above the iris. Then I do judicious multi-quadrant hydrodissection. Every time I inject very small amount of fluid, and after every inject, I decompress the nucleus so that excessive pressure cannot build up behind the iris. Otherwise, it will cause iris prolapse. Hydrodissection should be performed very carefully and gently in eyes with incomplete DEXIS. Every time I inject very small amount of fluid and decompress the nucleus immediately to prevent prolapse of the nucleus. Otherwise, excessive and forceful hydrodissection may cause extension of tears. In eyes with hard cataract, I avoid hydrodissection after making DEXIS to avoid capsular block because there is no potential space for the fluid to pass. So after making DEXIS, I proceed for esculpting and divide the nucleus to create a dissection plane so that fluid can pass through the dissection plane. And sometimes it allows the nucleus to rotate. If do not rotate, then I do hydrodissection. I inject very small amount of fluid, and forward bulging of the nucleus is a good indication for successful hydrodissection, which allow the nucleus to rotate. Though hydrodissection looks very simple and easy to perform, it may cause some unwanted complication. Here we can see the nucleus is prolapsed into the anterior chamber due to excessive injection of fluid. So by avoiding excessive injection of fluid, we can prevent these complications. Hydrodissection should not be performed through the side port because excessive amount of fluid cannot come out through the side port. So increased pressure gradient behind the iris will cause iris prolapse. Another unwanted consequence of hydrodissection is intraoperative capsular block syndrome. Though it is a sign of successful hydrodissection, it may cause some unwanted complication if appropriate measures are not taken. The cardinal signs of capsular block syndromes are forward bulging of the nucleus, shallowing of the anterior chamber, and prominence rhexis margin. If it occurs, it is wise not to go for forceful decompression because it may cause posterior capsular rupture. It is also wise not to go for forceful rotation because it may cause zonular dialysis. So the good idea in this case, proceed for esculpting, divide the nucleus completely so that fluid can move through the dissection plane into the anterior chamber, and this will allow the nucleus to rotate. Here we can see the pupil snap sign due to the blowout rupture of the posterior capsule with excessive injection of fluid. In some clinical scenario, hydrodissection should be avoided, like posterior polar cataract, traumatic cataract, history of multiple intravitreal injection, and post-vitrectomy eye. In this clinical scenario, I prefer to do inside-out hydrodelineation to separate the nucleus from the endonucleus, which is described by Dr. Abhay Basavada. At the end, I would like to conclude with this following take-home message: remove OVD prior to initiate hydrodissection, avoid excessive injection of fluid, always look for visible fluid AF, and immediately decompress the nucleus once the nucleus pops up. Hydrodissection can be performed at any stage of the procedure, and avoid forceful rotation, and do hydrodissection through the main port, not through the side port. Multi-quadrant hydrodissection is effective in certain clinical scenario like corticocapsular adhesion, and always careful about the intraoperative capsular block syndrome. Thank you.